Hey, happy Thursday. Pastor Marc here. Typically on Thursdays, we'll share an extra little thought or devotional nugget that relates to the sermon topic from Sunday. In this week, we were in the theme of trust from Lent. And so I have a few more little nuggets for us. But before I get to that, I want to say thank you, especially to those who shared on Sunday. One of the worship songs we did was called Testify, and it's been inspiring me so much the last few weeks and inspired us to create a space after the gathering where you, people from our community and our church, could share openly and honestly about how God has provided for you, how God has shown up in ways big and small that has made you felt loved and cared for and challenged. And it was so cool to hear those stories, those testimonies. I know for me, hearing God's activity and presence in your life and other people's lives can be so catalytic in my own. It can be comforting as well. And sometimes it helps give me perspective to see God moving in my own life. And I know from my own story, I don't have time to list all the ways God has provided over my lifetime. And looking back in hindsight, I can see evidence of the divine in so many places. And I can see the fingerprints of God and his presence all throughout my life. And there's been many ups and downs, but I know that God has always been faithful and true and trustworthy and has never left me. And it reminds me of just how important trust is and how even Jesus himself had to choose trust. And trust, again, it's really faith lived out. It's more than just an idea or a belief. It's when you choose to act and step into the unknown, the uncertain, trusting that God is calling us and will meet us there and has a purpose and a plan. You see, Jesus, when he was in this moment, this scene at the Garden of Gethsemane where he was about to go to the cross to experience intense suffering and separation like we've never experienced so that we could have new life and forgiveness and relationship with God. When he saw that in his future, he was terrified and he said, God, if there's any way that I don't have to experience this path of suffering, let's do that. Let's choose that way. If there's a shortcut or a bypass, I'm all for it. But then Jesus says, ultimately, not my will, God, but yours be done. And it's crazy that in this moment, the Son and the Father seem to have different wills. Yet the Son chooses trust and says, God, the Father, I know you have a better plan that maybe I don't quite see or understand, or it's going to be difficult, but I choose that path anyways. And it says in scriptures that Jesus, seeing the joy on the other side of the cross and the relationship on the other side of that suffering, he pursued it in trust. And we too are called to do the same. You see, there are hard times ahead for us all, individually and as a people and as a church. Suffering and struggle and the unknown is just part of life. There are going to be difficult seasons ahead. But the promise of God, the trustworthy promise of God, is that he will never leave us nor forsake us, and he will always be there with us. And it's like Psalm 23, that even when we go through valleys of shadow and death and confusion and despair, the good Father, the good Shepherd is with us and protects us and pulls us through that into places of green pasture and beautiful still waters where we can rest and be restored. It's this perpetual process of stepping out in faith that we are grown in. See, faith is not something that you can just inherit. You must grow it and curate it and develop it. It's a muscle that we can practice, and that's a beautiful thing. And we can trust in the fact that Jesus, as it says in Hebrews, is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and he will never leave us nor forsake us. And I love that Psalm 9:10, where it says that those who know the name of God, those who have built that intimacy with God, which takes time, trust in him, because it says the Lord will never forsake those who seek him. And finally, that encouragement from the scriptures in Jeremiah where it says, blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord and whose confidence is in him, for they will be like a tree planted by waters, and they send their roots out by the stream, and those trees do not fear when the heat come, for their leaves are always green. And those trees have no worries in the year of drought. Again, we've had drought. We're going to have drought in the future. Yet they never fail to bear fruit because of God's provision and providence. The fact that God is powerful and loving and fully trustworthy and a man of his word. But again, you don't have to take my word for that. Even Jesus, when people would come to him and say, "Who are you?" what did he reply? Jesus would always say, "Come and see. Come follow me. Just walk with me for a little while, and that will help you discover who I am. You can see that I am trustworthy over time." He's okay with our doubts. He has patience with us and for us. Come and see. Walk with me. What a beautiful invitation from the God of the universe, who says, "Come, experience me. See for yourselves that I am trustworthy and true, that Jesus is the truth, the source of truth and trustworthiness, and that when we follow him, we ourselves can begin to become more trustworthy and true and people of our word, and we can be streams of living water to those around us. And our testimony can testify to God's beauty and goodness and power and trustworthiness. So be well this week. We love you here at Makers Church. We're with you. We're praying for you and over you. Can't wait to see you soon. Bye.